Welcome to the Repsychled podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 96, Movie Mental Breakdown. We are doing the Clark sisters biopic. It was made in 2020. And today's mood music comes from the Clark sisters. You Brought the Sunshine.
Okay. So this has
Y'all knew I was going. I love that beat. Oh, God.
I was about to say, this movie has a large cast, so we're just going to focus on the ladies.
The mains.
The sisters.
Yeah.
And the mom.
And the mama. So, Dr. Mattie Moss is played by Aunjanue Ellis.
Yes.
And then we'll go in, I guess, descending order of age. So the oldest, I believe, is Jacky, and she is played by Angela Birchett. Then after that, I believe it's Twinkie?
Denise.
Oh, it's Denise next? Oh, okay. Then Denise, who is played by Raven Goodwin. Then it is Twinkie after that, yeah. It is played by Christina Bell. And then Karen is played by Clark-Sheard.
Her daughter.
No, Karen's the baby.
She's
Dorinda is played by Shelea. I don't know what this young lady's last name is. They just have her listed as Shelea on the cast.
She's an artist, so that's probably why.
And then, of course, the baby, Karen Clark, is played by her daughter, Clark-Sheard.
Yep.
Or I guess her name is now Clark-Sheard.
Who?
The mama.
The mom is Clark-Sheard. The daughter is Kierra or Kiki. But she also just got married, so I don't know what her
last name. And she's probably going to hyphenate it just like her mom.
Gotcha.
Karen Clark-Sheard.
Oh, it's Clark-Sheard? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Karen Sheard or
Clark-Sheard.
Gotcha. And then there are a host of other, kind of additional, side characters, but we'll just talk about them as they come. So I will start off by saying I was surprised by this film for a biopic and a Lifetime biopic at that.
They did great.
It was really good.
I said, y'all better come in here like this is New Edition.
Yes.
This was really good. I was quite surprised.
Like, I want to go back and watch it again without having to take notes. So I was like, I want to watch it with my mom. Because, my mom loves to sing. Well, she's a singer. So, I want to watch it with my mom because I just want to hear her sing the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was a surprise for me. It was kind of like a sleeper. So I was like, I don't think I would have literally ever watched this film ever in my life. But I'm glad I did. I learned something about these ladies.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And just side note, because we make this statement all the time, I am actually glad that this film had dates.
Yes. Because nobody know what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, so we getting some years. We get the progression now. They did jump.
Oh, God.
But
big time.
Decades.
Yeah.
But it was good to be able to have some reference points.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like the 5 heartbeats is like, okay, has this been 5 years? And we learned like, oh, it's only been 5 years?
Yeah.
Y'all made this thing look like it was 25 years.
Yeah.
But so thank you to the people that made this film for giving dates. So with that said, we start off in Detroit. I believe this is their hometown. And Dr. Moss is waking them up
at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so they're young
Out
at
of
this.
bed.
Yeah, they're young at this point, maybe ranging from school age to teenager or something like that. Because I'm not sure how far apart all these ladies are. But she waking them up because she done had something put on her heart.
A whole dream.
A whole dream, and she want to hear it right now. Not now.
Right now.
So they all sleepy and stuff. But she said, "I want to hear this 3-part harmony
because God put it on my heart, and I need y'all to sing it before I forget it."
That's right. So as teenagers do, they complaining. They like, "Oh my God, I don't want to do this, Mom. I'm so sleepy. I'm so tired." And she said, "You either gonna sing for the Lord or lay down for the devil."
I was like, "Ma'am, what does that have to do with you waking them up?"
Nothing.
Because they're supposed to get sleep. They're supposed to lay down and go to sleep.
Because I'm guessing it's a school night.
Clearly, that was not important, and was important.
Because, but I'm gonna tell y'all, I do understand the mama, because y'all may not know this, but I am also a choreographer. So I would have dreams of whole routines, and I would wake up and text my best friend, and Kalisha, hey, I got a whole routine. I got an 8 count. I got something. Okay. Well, not text, because the text wasn't out then, but I tell her at school.
So I got to write it down in my notebook.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know that life. So
so I definitely get where she's coming from, because when God gives you something, it's like, oh, I got to get it out right now. But I don't agree with the waking baby. So.
I understand the vision. I don't like the plan. Because I need sleep.
But I thought something else. Then we'll talk about this in just a second. But parents that are very strict and regimented, there is some documentation or research that suggests those individuals, take a couple of different paths. But one of them, for the most part, is you tend to be successful. Because you learn a certain type of discipline that you don't get if your parents a little bit more lax.
The Jacksons is a prime example.
So I was like, well, I don't agree with the execution of what she was doing. I understand the method to her madness, but I still feel sorry for the kids, because I imagine that wasn't the first time.
Oh, of course not.
That they experienced that.
Yeah, probably not.
And she said easy was a curse word in her house.
You cursing in my house?
I mean, like,
I was like, I need to rewind this. I missed the whole
curse word.
Talking about easy. Lord help.
But again, not doing things the easy way can lead to excellence. And that was one of the things she said, we don't do easy, we do excellent. And she had a level of, now she could have bred perfectionism in her children, but she did have a set of expectations that she wanted to be met.
Yeah, I think when you have this idea of excellence, it has to be a mixture. It's going to have to be a mixture of, that excellence behavior. Then, of course, the rigid come with that. And then there's also going to have to be a set of love as well. So if you get all of them, then you may have a balanced individual that grows up.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the mini-me episodes and all of that we did a while back that discuss like how you rear your kids and your expectations, and there has to be that balance. You can't just enforce and not educate them on the enforcing, because I think that was one area that their mother probably could have done a little bit better at, because she did pretty good at enforcing and loving, nurturing, but she didn't do a lot of the explaining. It was like, I said it, do it. And so we will see later there was some issues with folks being able to understand a process or understand what's not good for them.
And I think even the times that she did explain, it came with such abrasiveness that it sounded like you angry with me. So
Yeah. And I think since, something we also got to keep in context is that this is 1963. So their mother was likely born maybe in the 40s. or even the 30s. Maybe I was gonna say even the 30s. That's a whole different generation and how parents raise their children, and how they spoke. Well, that's if they even spoke to them in any kind of loving type of way. So she likely didn't learn how to foster that type of conversation with her children versus the way people will parent today in a much gentler manner. So trying to keep that also in, she didn't know different.
She was born in 1925.
Okay, so the 20s.
Yeah.
We was way off.
Way off. She's my grandmother's age.
And she passed in 94.
Okay. So she was out there. All right, so then we, get over to a small little church scene. And they're a little bit older now. And because these are the ladies that will play them for the rest of the movie. So they singing, doing their thing. And, what? Oh, you look like, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You look like you were getting, that I had missed something.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, you good. So they're singing. Of course, Mama is over there just like, yeah, this, y'all don't. She was very proud of her children.
Yes.
I mean, that's something that was very evident throughout the film.
Yeah.
So she was over there doing her mama thing, like, my babies. But then, who I did not realize was the daddy at the time in the film,
was
had the creepy
vibes.
Why was Mr. Clark so dusty in the movie? I just like nobody wanted to get this man no lotion in the movie. Now I don't know if the real Mr. Clark was ashy, but the man playing him was ashy.
Maybe they were going for a look
of villainous.
Yeah, they had to have a certain vibe for him. Because I did put creepy in my note, and I was like, why is he looking at them like that? I couldn't understand.
Like they not is.
Right. Like I said, I didn't realize this was the father at the time. So I thought this was a man looking at one
I know, me too. I
was
thought the same thing.
I was like, ooh, Pastor?
I know
you just being obvious. But then I was like, oh, different. Okay, he has a whole different mindset on this, which we will later learn in a couple of scenes. So that kind of ends with there. There's not much to that other than you see the dad's almost disdain. You will learn that later. But
now that you know that he's the dad.
Once you know he's the daddy.
Yeah.
I am the pappy.
Yeah, you can see like his pure, I don't want to say hatred, but it's creeping that direction. Seeing seeing what his wife is kind of supporting and even promoting with the girls.
How dare you?
So then they, we got back home, and Denise or Nisi, she won't go out. She ready, get up.
Get her dance.
Yeah, she ready to shake her tail for the. But then Jacky like, Mama put me in charge. And she said, I'm the oldest. But then the sister was like, you might be the oldest.
But I'm the oldest Clark.
And I was like, So they've been making a differentiation between full sibling and half sibling. And I was like, I wonder, of course we don't get all of that backstory, but I was like, how long has that been a thing?
Probably since the beginning, because of the way the dad feels. I don't think mom probably was doing it, but based off of what.
And the skin complexion, because Jacky's light skin, or in the movie. Yeah. Well, she is light skin.
I mean, only two of them are darker complected.
Yeah. And I was like, and I'm like, how did that play out amongst the family throughout the years?
What I'm going to say is, I mean, Nisi acts like a stereotypical middle child, though.
Yeah.
She act like the black sheep.
I mean, and we will later see. I mean, it's not that her role was not justified in some ways or fashion, but it was just an interesting small scene that can set the tone for, okay, there could be some problems later on.
Yeah.
With this right here. So then they do a small little cut over after that too. To I believe this is Twinkie.
Mm-hmm. And Denise.
And Denise. They find so it wasn't Denise going out. Was it Denise?
I thought it was. Wait a minute.
I know it was Twinkie. I think it was, didn't it?
No, it was Jacky brought the chicken, the Henrys,
and
Denise wanted to go out, but maybe she didn't go.
Okay.
Or maybe she had come back because it was cutting the scenes.
It was either Denise or Twinkie.
Gotcha.
I know there was two of them. It was Twinkie and somebody.
So then it was that found the gold record.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, what I wrote in my notes was, okay, they about to catch the bug. Like that limelight. That people that are famous that have been on stage and performed. They talk about like once you're out there, it's a different type of energy, like a different version of you kind of comes out. I was like, oh, they catching the bug, getting ignited.
But the part that bothered me is that this woman is having to hide who she is.
You talking about the mama?
Because her husband
even
feels
her
less
awards.
than. That's what I'm saying. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
It just. I was like, okay, this is what we about to have to go through in this movie. But I was mad instantly because I'm like, sir, that's a good reflection on you. You got this famous wife, in the whole brotherhood, the world, all of those things.
Too much attention.
She was too big for herself. I don't know how you do that because you are you.
Because you bigger than me. I'm the pastor. I'm the pastor. You're not bigger than the pastor. Stay in your place.
As this next set of scenes is about to let us know. So we get to Mom and Dad, Miss Mattie and Pastor Clark, are in their bedroom having a conversation, and he's asking her if she gonna be at the pastor's wife breakfast, and she say no. And I was like, oh.
Well, hold on. First off, when she was packing her stuff to go out of town for their next event, he comes standing in the doorway telling us, you got Twinkie following you everywhere. She don't know how to cook. She don't know how to clean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they're getting ready and going to the workshop. And I was like, that's all you're worried about?
It's the gendering of chores for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad she said, I want my daughters to learn more than just cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, because it's no shade to housewives, but for people that want to do differently, that is okay. Some people are okay with being a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mother, and that legacy is perfectly fine for them, but not everybody wants that. And there's no need to shame somebody for being able to think outside of your
idea of gender roles. And he was getting upset with the mom about having her to go around with her and all that, but you wanted to put her in the box too, because you just wanted her to be learn how to be a housewife. No shade, but still.
Yeah, and without taking into any type of consideration that your daughters have minds of their own. Even ones separate from your wife.
Yeah.
Because obviously not all of them ended up wanting what the mother wanted, but neither one of them really took the time to dive into if the life that they expected or desired for their children is the life that their children actually wanted.
Yeah.
At least the way it's portrayed in the movie. So then he starts accusing her of wanting to be the Jackson 5, and she gonna be Joe Jackson, because she told him, I'm not gonna be at the pastor's wife's breakfast. And I was like, this is a hard one, because it's literally called the pastor's wife's breakfast. And if the pastor's wife ain't there,
well, my issue was, why didn't y'all come to the pastor's wife and ask her for the date that she would be available? Y'all know that she's a director of music and she travels. So why wasn't she asked for the date that it can happen? No. So they probably went to your husband or just created a date without asking you, like you don't have an opinion.
Do you think that based off the time, because I'm assuming this is still maybe the late 60s at this point, based off the time and the particular denomination of church that they belong to, that is
Most definitely. That's
whatever you about to say. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's why I said that.
And for those that don't know, the Clark family belonged to the Kojic denomination, sect. I don't know what you call it.
Denomination.
Okay. I was like, what you call that? Which is very strict in a lot of different kinds of ways. And so that, I was thinking that too. Like,
they are a holiness church, so it is specific rules on most things
and high expectations.
And she was like, "Nah, we better than the Jackson 5. Like, get it? Don't get it twisted." And then he followed that up with, "He who exalts himself will be humbled." And I was like, "Oh, so he about to knock her down."
It's the misquoting of all the scriptures for me in this movie.
And I was like, it's so sad when you have your own drive and your own desires, and someone can't handle that. They can't handle you being different from them or even being better.
It reminds me, we haven't talked about them in a super long time, but the reality show couple, Mel and Martell, on whatever it is, something about people buying land and property and stuff.
No.
Anyway, them, I can't think of the name of their show, but that was a similar thing. Like, he was really jealous of his wife. And she did a lot of great things, and they did end up getting divorced. We found out that she the one that actually had the builder's license because he couldn't pass the test. Like, it was a whole situation.
Wow.
Like, if we really doing this together, let's do this together. Right. But also realize I have my own dreams and goals, and that's going to benefit us. It's not just going to take away. It's a balance.
Yeah. And we can excel in different things.
Yes.
We don't have to be great in the same areas. And if anything, that's probably a healthier balance, that, one person can lead in one area and the other one can lead somewhere else, so that it doesn't feel like two chiefs fighting over everything. I know that's a very dated reference, so, but, vying for control, it just creates this weird power dynamic that is unhelpful.
I'm not supposed to be in competition with my husband.
No.
Yeah.
We chose each other because we feel like we can build and grow together, and whatever our other specific reasons are. So if you feeling like you need to compete against me and this ain't game night, something wrong with that. So, I definitely think this, we're going to see this throughout the movie with the men in their congregation, in their particular denomination.
Yeah.
Feeling like they need to get a one-up on the woman when, no, this is your lane.
And we got to remember the time too. You know, during that time, women didn't have a voice. Well, while they were being raised, women was not expected to have a voice.
Well, we
had one.
Yeah, you got to think women's rights came about in 1913, and Dr. Moss-Clark was born in 1925. Right. So that's not a big gap.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I kind of wrote down was that, this next,
this went so fast. I was like, wait.
I was like, man, we only 10 minutes into this movie and this is where we at already.
Yeah.
I was like, got to get him out. Okay. But, he wants to keep her underfoot in a way of life that he's comfortable with.
Because otherwise she's useless.
And that is a harsh thing to say to a person. It's one thing to talk about ways that none of these are great or good at all. But it's one thing to talk about ways somebody looks or the way somebody dresses or the way they sound. But to say that they are useless, essentially you have no worth here as there's nothing that you bring to my life at all. It's not even worth my time to be engaging with you.
Yeah.
What kind of psychological damage that can do, especially supposedly somebody that you love. We chose to be together.
And someone who's doing something great. Like, I'm not saying that everything she did was wonderful, but she's human. But she was doing something great, and it wasn't like she was not doing the work of the Lord. She was useful to the Lord.
I mean, Pastor Clark would have had a great podcast.
In today's time?
Yeah, would have.
Absolutely. And that ego was fragile, like super fragile, because then you resort to violence.
Yeah.
You know,
which that's not being of God.
And that was the other thing that I was thinking about too.
Why be angry but sin not.
Exactly. So how you want her to walk the thin line of the scriptures, every line of it, but you can skip out on whichever one you choose. That's why I be, girl, don't let me get. I can't stand it when people try to use. I can't stand it when people try to use the scripture against you, and you're not even living it either. What sense does that make? No. Don't be trying to Bible thump me, and you can't Bible thump yourself.
Agreed.
That made me mad.
100%. Yeah, because I was like, this didn't just go from 0 to 100. This went to like 0 to 1,000.
Right.
I was like, oh, so we did this. That was the next leap. Like, there was no argument. There was no discussion, like true discussion. Like, we went straight from there to like, we in here having a whole knockout drag out.
Right.
And it makes you wonder how long this family had been enduring this emotional, mental, and physical abuse, because he did it too easily to multiple people.
Well, and Jacky said, why does he keep doing this? Yeah. So at that point, I didn't know if she meant, why does he keep doing this to her or the family or to mom? I didn't know which one.
Yeah.
Or it may have been all of them.
Because at this point we see, it was Jacky out on a date and she gets home and here's the commotion going on inside because now, the daddy is and the mama is in there going at it. So she run up there and of course the door's locked so she can't get in, and she run downstairs to call the police.
I'm trying to figure out how you got the word. You in there yelling and all this, and you got the wherewithal to hear me say that I'm getting ready to call the police. You knew it was about to happen because I couldn't get in the door. You should have let me in the door then so I can help my mama jump you.
Yes. And yes. So she get to dialing that rotary phone and I was like, oh Lord.
This is on 3 numbers.
Yeah, I was like, ooh. I was like, when's the last time you seen one of them? But she got to get and then she didn't make it. Got that phone out of hand and backhanded her.
Hard.
Real hard.
And then
like bruised her face hard.
Yeah. And then to add insult to injury, you gonna tell her she got to get out because she ain't yours. She ain't been yours this whole time.
Right.
Sir, she grown now.
So what difference does it make? Just because she know how to call 911, she been knowing how to call 911.
Yeah.
I think if it would have been a different family, all of them would have got together and just stomped him.
Probably.
Little frail man.
And I was like, the other thing I was thinking was, and you kicking her out.
Sir, you the one need to be kicked out.
Yeah, like, because he was like, you gonna call the cops on me and my, like, what?
So obviously that wasn't your house because you got out.
Right. Like, you were upstairs beating your wife. And then you get upset for your stepdaughter calling the police on you.
And she literally said, you the only daddy I've ever known. The girls are too close in age for there have been a gap, especially because you can tell, she's always, been in the church and things of that nature. So she had to have had her and then immediately started her courtship with the pastor and got married and then had Denise. So, or whoever we trying to figure out was the second one. But you know what I mean?
At least that's what they said. And she was like, you might be the first one, but I'm the first one, Clark.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah. So weird. So then, the mama runs downstairs and attempts to console her daughter.
Along with the sisters.
But it was short-lived. Because mama was like, yeah, no, dry that up real quick.
But this was after Jacky left. Because she was like, well, where are you going? and she left or whatever. And so the mama told her and the girls, let's dry this up. I was like, man, that's got to be a hard life that you can't even express your emotions. When it comes to negative emotions, pain and sadness or something like that.
Got to feel your feelings.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry. Especially like it seemed like Karen was the sensitive one. And when you have a child like that, they need to be able to express their emotions.
Yeah. That's true. Let's see. After this, the next scene is they're at a nursing home, right?
At Jacky's job.
And Glenn, who eventually...
No. Dorinda and Greg in the choir stand saying sweet nothings to each other at rehearsal.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that whole...
Girl, yes, we got to do this one. You got to do this thing.
Forgot that whole part. Yeah, they at the choir practice and getting a little flirty in the back. And Mattie was like, hey, cut it out.
Just because your daddy a deacon don't mean I won't kick you out.
Because I was like, look at her embarrassing her in front of everybody.
I mean, they were doing, according to the standards, they were doing a lot in the choir stand. Y'all holding hands, y'all all on each other. Now we saying according to the standards, not
of this denomination.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know better. Y'all shouldn't even been standing next to each other. Y'all even sang the same part. Stop it.
You're supposed to be in the middle, sir. How are you in the alto section?
He said, because she over there looking good. So then they started singing and somebody was off.
In that soprano section.
And the doctor was not having it at all. And LaFanya loved this part. I mean, excuse me. Sorry. Dr. Jones. She loved this part.
She threw that shoe and got up in her face and said, if you weren't chewing that gum, you might be able to sing. You might.
I hope y'all getting all these visuals on the YouTube.
That was so funny to me.
She was going in. I said, oh, Miss Aunjanue, you better be out here.
She said, spit that gum in the napkin.
Girl, that was so funny to me.
She was so quick to throw a shoe, though. Ma'am. And you could tell she really wasn't aiming because, black mothers will aim at you.
Yes.
But
she said, I need you to get the hint, though.
Who chewing gum at choir practice with her?
Who chewing gum at choir practice and you can't sing with gum in your mouth?
Yeah, and she must have been going to town on that gum.
Yeah, but you could tell, like, she was just not present. She was chewing the gum. Really chewing that gum. I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And they made her so mad. She said, now, let me show you how it's done. Front and center. Called all the girls down.
Heartbeats.
There you go. And they got down there.
And did they thing.
They showed them how
hallelujah.
All right, so where are we at now?
Jacky.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Wait.
At her job.
Oh, there we go. I lost my place on my notes. Sorry, y'all. So now she's at the job, and her mama show up, and first Glenn sees her, and he's like, "Wait, girl? What happened to you? Like, what's going on?"
And Glenn is nice and chocolatey. He got smooth chocolate skin. I said, "Okay, y'all better have these actors out here looking like the real people."
They did a good job on picking everybody.
Yeah.
But then her mama walks in, and she basically like, "What you doing, mama?" And I appreciate that her mama was like, "Look, I'm leaving him.
Yeah.
And I want you to come home."
Yeah.
It's my house now.
It probably was always her house because he was a minister. So.
Probably. But I did appreciate that, it was her way of apologizing.
Yeah.
If we keep it in context again about the time frame and the era that their mother grew up in, you're not going to get I'm sorry.
But we saw that.
Yeah, you want something to eat? Come on home. So that,
and see, that was the part where I was talking about she was rough or rigid, but also showing love in the way that she knew how to show love.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just expressing that, you know, okay, look, he won't be able to do this no more because I divorced him. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder what made that the straw that broke the camel's back.
I know.
You know, generally, you don't just haul off and hit somebody like just randomly one day.
Yeah,
I think it
could've
was
been.
he hit her. I think he hit Jacky
Mm.
because she was shocked. At least in the movie, she was shocked that she got hit. Her saying, "Why does he always do this?" I think it was more so the separation part because she was truly like, "He hit me," like you know. And I don't
Gotcha.
think that was something that she had experienced as far as domestic violence, maybe a spanking,
And
something like that.
I
But
would add too, she's an adult now that can actually move.
like she
Mhm.
grown. She didn't already
Yeah.
went through nursing school.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, so she ain't got to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe and probably just like, okay, and I don't know how long her and Glenn had been dating, so it could have been like, I don't want her to think that this is okay.
Mm.
Gotcha. It makes you wonder what goes through the mind of a man that does that and he ain't got nothing but girls.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Because
Like
although Jacky wasn't his, the other ones were.
at
Yeah.
least 4.
Mm-hmm.
4, excuse me. The country this is wearing off on 4 of them. I'm getting into character.
I agree with both of y'all. I have wondered that too. Like, how do you teach your daughters to have respect for themselves and require that their partner take care of them and protect them, but then you go and beat up their mama?
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't.
And
the
hit
dissonance. You. It's the dissonance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I said and hit you.
That too. Yeah, it's a lot there. So then we get to a scene where they're singing in the church, and you know, this is where their mom is talking about she wants them to be one voice, like she just wants to hear true harmony. Like it need to be one person sounding, synchronized singing, if you will,
unison.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Look, I'm about to go shopping. It better be right by the time I come back." And
it was so funny when she got back. She said,
"Girl, I thought they was gone."
I did
like,
too.
Oh Lord, they done left.
They're about to die.
I know.
Is
Is
y'all in here sleeping? No, ma'am. Yes, y'all were. All of y'all. How y'all all pass? At least y'all all gonna get the same whooping.
Okay. Ain't none of that. It wasn't me.
Mm-mm.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
They had it right. I would say they had it right.
Yeah.
They just needed a little break, a little nap.
Mm-hmm.
So then we jump a little bit more to them recording in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorinda started off real wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not even a singer. And I was like,
I said, she tired?
I was like, that was flat.
I was like, yeah, no, don't do that one. Don't
That was
record that
real
one.
flat.
Come on, Shelea, don't do that.
But then the mom was like, you need to be, this is about pain. Like, you need to, people need to
The pep
understand.
talk came.
Yeah, she was like, no, I need you to put some.
Suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like-
trying to help them.
Just like in when What's Love Got to Do It, she was like, rougher. That was that moment.
Yeah.
Church. So she started off the second time way
I
better.
said, this is a different song.
I know. It's a different feel to
I didn't even
it.
know what song it was when she sung it the first time. I said, what am I listening to? I said, oh, okay, they got it together.
Yeah, and they did really good. You know, you can tell that they have built their craft and that they understand each other's voices
Mm-hmm.
and how to harmonize with each other. And then so after the singing, she tells Karen that she gonna start singing solo.
Karen's eyes got so wide. She was like, huh?
When I watched this, it was so hard for me to see Karen.
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing Kierra
Yeah.
because she do that all the time. So I know she's her mama's daughter, but I would just say, oh, Kiki.
You got your mama's personality.
Them eyeballs,
Mhm.
yes.
It's so innocent though.
Yeah.
You know, there's a sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And But yeah, she was like, "Yeah, you sure you want me to sing solo?"
I wonder if she's still like more introverted like that. You know what I mean? Like even though she's done all the things that she's done with her sister, I wonder if like in her, you know, away from the audience, if she's still that person.
That would be interesting to know.
Yeah. The next little piece in this last scene here I thought was interesting. I can't remember who was talking to their mom about their song being on the radio.
Denise.
It was Denise? Okay. And saying that Bishop might be mad if they get their song on the radio because they say those people are not saved.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Mattie was like, hold on. You stop that mess now. Because we saved and sanctified and we're going to be on the radio. I don't care what none of these jokers say.
And we spreading the gospel. That's what she kept telling people. Like, how else we going to do it if it's only to, you know, do people in these pews?
Right.
Yeah, you got to appreciate a rebel sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't break out of a consistent, you know, way of being without the person. Somebody's got to be willing to go against the grain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way she was going about going against the grain is like she was realizing this is ludicrous. This is man-made stuff that y'all talking about.
Yeah.
Why we gotta wear our skirts all the way? This an inside joke.
Lord help.
We'll tell you about it later.
Okay. Yeah. But, you know, I appreciate the rebelness in her and the willingness to stick her neck out for her children. Again, she showed her love in more of an acts of service kind of way.
Yeah.
So she really took the brunt of whatever
backlash they would get.
Thank you for allowing them to be kind of put in the front and shine.
Yeah. Because I don't think they ever got, well, at least they didn't show it in the movie, that they didn't get approached by people about them singing and being on the Grammys, and you know, whereas Mama was
protected.
Yeah.
So then we got Twinkie and Mom at the piano, and you can tell that she's wanting to do something else with her life. She's wanting to go to school for something. They don't say what it is, but you know,
she was in school.
She was in school. She was going to Howard.
I thought later on they said she turned down.
But she was in school and somewhere, but I don't know if it was Howard. Okay. I know she didn't finish either, but she was in school somewhere.
She couldn't do both.
Yeah. And I felt so bad for her in this moment. Because Mom, again, this is one of those weird spots where I understand your intentions, but the way you going about it is not going to get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, telling her she's got to make a choice, and
that she needed to study for her test.
And you can't put God into everything by saying that I thought your dream was to serve God. And
because I'm studying don't mean I'm not serving God. Because I wish we would have known what she was going to school for, because it was one time she was sitting at the table studying the Bible.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, were you going to theologian school or, you know, but I don't know. That it may not have been that.
Yeah.
And it don't really say in the after credits either, so.
Yeah. But I felt bad for her because you can tell that this is
seminary.
You know. But you can tell that she has what the dad said about her following the mom and, you know, just kind of hanging on by her coattails was true, because she didn't have the opportunity to form her own identity.
Yeah. Like you said, she was in Mom's shadow.
Yeah. It was sad.
Yeah, and kind of maybe expected to be that next person in line. You know, there's always like, okay, you got the big mama, and then when Big Mama passes away, somebody's got to slide into that position, kind of like in Soul Food.
Yeah.
It was Maxine that was kind of expected to become the next version of that. So my mind says that, you know, she's kind of being groomed to be her when she's not
Minister
present.
Of music.
Yep.
And she had the most talent, technically.
Yeah.
The
She
most
was the writer, the
of
player,
everything.
and the thing.
Yeah.
I did not know she was the leader of Sunshine.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody else can do all of those things, but she was the one who
had the talent, the real talent.
Yeah.
Or the maybe more natural talent.
The Clark sisters, we still love all of them.
Yeah, because all of them is great, but we just saying at that phase of
but they probably
their life
because they wanted her to stay.
Yeah, the way they was fighting.
Yeah.
I just felt so sorry for her in that scene because you can tell that she's itching to start her own life, and which is natural.
And I wonder how she would have blossomed if she would have been able to because I don't
do both.
Yeah, because I don't think she would have stopped writing, playing, or singing. It just would have taken possibly them longer to get to where they got, and maybe not.
I don't think it would have took longer. I think it probably would have been the same because of what ended up happening, what she did,
Yeah.
But, and see, that's the thing. Had she been able to go to school and blossom, maybe she would have become more street smarts and into book smarts. So she would have been able to grow.
She didn't have no discernment. That baby was special.
I think she was too green.
Both sheltered and green.
Yeah. And so she wasn't exposed to anything.
Someone else made her decisions for her. So there was no ability to think critical. Or
for herself.
Yeah. So then we cut over to Jacky is getting married.
To Glenn. The chocolate.
And I thought that it was a sweet moment, but Mama did I was like, dang, she put a lot of pressure on these kids. Because she said, you my rock. And I'm like, ugh.
I mean, it's accurate, though.
And it was her firstborn, too. So I can see why she said that, but I understand the pressure.
Yeah.
But I see why she said that because, she's her firstborn. So, of course, you taught me how to be a mother.
Right. So I'm not going to put too much stock into it, but I was like, ugh. Ooh, I said, boy, she'd be really laying it on thick with these kids. But that was really it in that scene.
I like that Jacky and Mama saved Jacky's money.
Oh, yes.
Because that got to be their nest egg.
Yeah, I did.
And I could appreciate
she was
teaching her how to start your house and how to.
And $50 every 2 weeks is a lot of money. Let me see how much
back
that
in
is.
The 70s. Man, imagine what that would be in today's money. Probably $300.
Yeah.
So then we jumped some gears as of what we know. And it's 1976. And Karen is now about to sing lead publicly. It seems like for the first time.
Y'all, pause.
Huh.
$370.49.
I told you I'd be on the numbers.
Y'all, that's like $700 a month.
Yeah.
Let me find out and gave you $700. And then you're going to give it back to me?
And they don't tell us how long. Yeah.
Girl, thank you, Mom.
Appreciate that. I think you skipped something. Nisi came in late. Tried to wipe the lipstick off. Is that after that?
I think so. Okay, yeah. She's studying after that.
Wait a minute. We just said
Jacky got married.
Yeah, and you said Karen started singing lead. Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm jumping ahead.
So Karen's about to sing lead. I think for the first time. It seems like publicly at least.
Yeah.
And baby girl is nervous.
She had that look.
Yes.
But that mama, she just be bouncing from side to side for me. Because I was like, look at her building her up. She's like, nah, you gonna do this. You got this.
But here's another opportunity where she showed how she could love her because she started off singing the song.
I'm gonna let you get it together.
That happened to me one time. When I was going to church when I was a kid, I had a solo song.
Okay, come on now.
Yeah, it was something. He Never Slumbers. I think that's the name of the song. But I missed the like, you know, when the music starts playing,
intro.
I missed the intro. And of course, the whole congregation, I just, grew up going to a Kojic church.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, it's all right, baby.
Of course it is. Let him use you.
It's all right. It's all right.
We're going to do it again. It always reminds me of the classic, doom, 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 doom. And then she just looked, joyful, joy. Come on, Lauren.
Right.
Yes. So I was like, dang, I know that moment.
Come on, little Lauren Hill.
Okay. It's like, oh, the pressure. But I agree. I like the way, you know, even though she seemed like she was a hard woman, she knew how to soften her children when the time was right.
Yep.
And support them and protect them when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately. But, you know, Karen get out there and do her thug thizzle. And
It was exciting.
blew the roof off.
And I'm glad that they actually had people that could sing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, I'm not saying that the lip singing biopics are bad, but I appreciate that you get people who really took the time to learn the person and sing it like the person. And it just makes it so much more authentic.
Oh, absolutely.
Have y'all noticed? Because they won't have to get people who sing the like similar to the Clark sisters, because them women can blow.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that every time they have a biopic of a real singer, that they usually get an actress or actor that can sing. Because they did that with whoever, like Jennifer Hudson, she played Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, and New Edition.
Mm.
All of them. They all did the stuff. They had a long audition process. Like they had to be able to dance and sing.
Oh yeah.
It was like, I wish you would come on here half stepping. But I appreciate that, because or else we get, you know, the Selena stuff.
I was glad they let Kiki play her mom, because she could really sing.
Yeah, she was getting it.
They all. I was telling Dr. Jones when we were watching. I was like, they are those type that give you goosebumps. You know, when you start hearing them.
Yeah,
it's like, oh,
you just be frowning like,
how
you do that?
Why can you sing like that?
Why did you want to sing it like that? What's behind that? Lord.
Especially us people that don't sing. So then we have a tiny little scene where they go to a record store and they find out that they are number 20 on the gospel charts.
Come on.
And the record store owner was trying to play them, but then he learned when they was like, peep it, we number 20.
It's us.
So they was like, oh, that's so great, oh my God.
What y'all doing next?
Big head self. So then we got another kind of small little scene here where they are performing on stage and the promoter is trying to mess with Mama Money. They were trying to pull that Ray Charles on her. And she was like, oh, no. We ain't never. And when I say never, ever coming back here. And he was just like, oh, that mean we got that new one. And then we got
I mean, that is how he was sounding.
Yeah. And she was like, no. We agreed to this. I got a packed house. My girls out there blowing this roof. Whatever.
And even as you looked at that little envelope, I said, sir, it is 5 women on that stage and a manager. You could tell there wasn't enough money in that.
Because you could still close it.
I need my stuff to be spilling out.
Okay.
Especially if it's cash.
If I'm a Clark sister, I'm not a Clark sister, but I'm saying if I was, I needed to be way more than what was in there.
Oh, of course. But, you know, it's okay because blessings come later. So then that was a little scene there. But of course, you know, they're singing. So, you know, everything's going great because they're singing. I don't know what they were singing at that time, but
I can't remember.
Sounding good. Then we get Twinkie and Missy. So this is when she come home with the lipstick. So she in the mirror trying to rub that lipstick off them lips because, you know, they real strict. And you can't have that Jezebel stuff on, looking all fast. But she leaves a little corner on the side. And she's like, whatever, I'm tired of hiding myself from my mama. And Twinkie's like, okay.
You might want to wipe the rest of that off.
You say so, sis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this girl is busting at the seams. You know, this is one of those individuals that when they go off to college and they just
go wild.
I hate to say it like this, but Niecy is like the Bobby Brown of the group. With less Bobby, but she was the one, testing all the limits.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is, I mean, she had 5 girls, so all of them have their own personality.
Yep.
And Denise just so happened to be the one who wanted to explore more.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, had she explored more, they may not have had this explosive relationship like they had.
Yeah.
There needed to be a lot more communication.
Yeah.
It goes back to what we were talking about in Holy and Horny.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot going on with her. Yeah. And, she's semi the oldest. But she's also want to do so many things. But remember, previously, she was also the one that was super worried about, are we doing the right stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just don't think she had that safe place to discuss, like, what should this look like? How should I do this? Mm-hmm. And it just...
How can I date and still be holy? How can I date and still be Kojic? How can I date,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because she obviously, wanted to have a boyfriend.
Yeah, or many, as they said.
Because she
said
did.
She said, I got 2. I was like, she got here getting it in. And then she, kind of said something that's like, ugh, to Twinkie. And said, you live in mama's life. And I was like, ooh, that's a gut punch. Because it's the truth. But I was wondering, like, at some point, something kicked off for Twinkie. There had to have been a turning point for her where she also started realizing, like, I do want to live my own life. I may not necessarily want to go about it the way my sister's going about it, but I do want to have something for myself because I'm an adult and I have my own desires and I can't fulfill them because I feel so obligated to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they causing commotion downstairs because who knows what time in the morning it is. And Mama is like, oh, you've been out. What's this? And they get into it, and Mama slap her. Well, they're arguing because she talks about, controlling all of them, and, she want to live her own life, and, Mama's like, not in my house. You can't straddle the fence. And she slapped her.
What the interesting question that I heard, or how she said it to her mom, is like, why would you slap me? Like, I was like, what do you mean, why would she slap you?
Why would you slap me?
Well, my mind goes to because you were being smart mouth to your mama. But I don't know what she meant by that. You know what I mean?
And I agree.
Because
like
the way she asked it.
Yeah, it was the way she asked it. Like, why would you slap me? Why would you put your hands on me? Like, somebody else done did something. Why would you choose me? But it was just the way that she asked it. I understand. Like you said, she was in her mama's face and talking crazy.
And maybe that was just artistic freedom with Raven. Maybe that's just what she did.
It's definitely possible, but it maybe, it makes me wonder, were there times where she was like the mama's voice of reason or like the mama's balance? Because mom is so, far on one side that her daughter allowed her to, I'm sorry guys, to be able to have some brevity, like some lightness, that you've got to enjoy some things. It can't always just be the church, singing.
Well, she is the oldest in the house now. So that may be truly what's happening.
And that could have been another thing. I'm the oldest. Like, why can't I voice my opinion now? You may not like the way I'm voicing my opinion, but why would you slap me?
Yeah. And it was hard. So then she leave, and then the next morning we get up. They having breakfast.
And breakfast was sorry. I'm just gonna say that because y'all know I be looking at the details.
You do.
and one egg.
And some fruit.
Fruit and a slice of bacon and some crunchy toast. I said, what in the what? I said, these is nice thick women. They don't want just this egg.
Yeah.
I didn't want just the egg.
No. And movie breakfasts usually are like pancakes and waffles. And fruit and bacon and sausage, eggs, coffee, juice, and milk. That's how movie breakfasts are.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say Aunjanue was eating. She would. Mama Mattie was eating that fruit. It was like, okay, tell me you're angry without telling me you're angry.
Okay. I wasn't even looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, Dorinda said, "Can I say the prayer over the breakfast?" And then threw all that shade in there. I was like,
"Oh, the shade." I'm like, really?
Was that necessary?
She the shady sister. She is the shady sister.
Yeah. Then they had this weird conversation because I was like, this is not a discussion. And I was like, man, the daughter apologizes, but mom continues to give her an ultimatum. And I was like, that's the rigidity that your daughter is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not giving her any room to breathe. And if she had some room to breathe, maybe she wouldn't rebel the way that she's rebelling.
Yeah.
And she has your spirit. And that was the other thing that I think caused some of that battle with them as well. That you're more like her than what mom wants to admit to.
Mm-hmm.
You're just more like me going a different direction.
And didn't have to go in a different direction if there would have been more communication, like Dr. Wall was saying.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But she was like, you can't sing and live the life you want. So.
And so I think for me, I would have been like, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? And I mean, of course, me not understanding the Kojic denomination, I understand why she's saying that, but I still would have asked, as her child, I would have been like, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think the problem was at that point, Missy had already started taking it further than she needed to be taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, nobody knew for real, but she had already stepped into that realm. And I think their mother was just so big on your words need to match your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not something that I feel at that point in Missy's life she was going to be able to do anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I just, how we've been talking all this month about how the church perceives and the thinking of the Bible when you read the scriptures. When you're out there in the world, how are you anointed and in the world?
Mm-hmm.
If you out there fornicating, how you also anointed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ooh, man, that's a hard life. Not for me. So then we get a quick little comic relief scene here because Jacky comes to go visit her mama and she got pants on. And her mama went straight down some legs.
She said, I was just at work. Now, she a nurse. Nurses have not worn dresses in a long time.
Mm-hmm. But she was like, not in this house.
And it's so interesting because I've heard a lot of women who are Kojic, they keep skirts in their trunk.
My cousin, she had to play basketball in a skirt.
I knew a girl that used to play basketball and she played basketball in a skirt.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I said, not me, not today, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. And I think she wore a jean skirt just about every day.
With sneakers.
Just about every day. I was like, oh.
I can't stand them long skirts.
Oh, I could not do that. No, sir, buddy. But she wouldn't change into that skirt. And she's like, this better. Jesus, mama. But I was like, that's a cute little scene. And she was like,
You know better that you're not coming in this house with no man clothes on.
I wonder where that idea comes from. Like
the gendering of all things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was just a little quick scene there too. So then we get over to Dorinda. She get ready to get engaged.
Mm-hmm.
To
Choir Bay.
Mm-hmm, to Choir Bay. And I was like, I think this is where Twinkie starts to build resentment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying a little bit earlier, like, what was the
turning point?
Because Dorinda's younger than her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I imagine it was a buildup of a lot of different things, but you have the oldest is now married. Another one's now engaged. And it's like, dang, okay, so like y'all get to live and y'all get to do what y'all want to do. Like, the wheels start turning. Even if you haven't been able to put all the pieces together, it's like, I'm becoming more observant.
Yeah.
Now.
When Dorinda got proposed to and they kissed in the church, I was scared.
Girl, me too. I said, oh my God.
I was like, y'all about to lose y'all life.
Like, tell you the trauma I done
Okay.
Like, I was like, okay, you can do that. That's not inappropriate. It's just
because y'all
ain't quick.
But I'm scared.
I wasn't ready.
No. I was glad Mama didn't walk in because they probably would have lost their life.
Okay, y'all ain't getting married.
So
now.
y'all kissed twice. Y'all didn't say you're going about your business.
Y'all had a real kiss.
And then a hug. Y'all done rubbed all the front of your bodies up against each other. Sinners.
Oh man. So then, there's a weird little set here, but one of the parts is the mom is trying to give control over to Twinkie about the group, and she's like, what? I don't want to do that.
I think it was to appease her, though.
I was thinking, because I put why. Why is she now trying to give her
all this control?
Yeah.
Flip side of that, that's also when her health started to decline.
If
you started looking at the way she was moving, having a cane, like you can see things are starting to happen. So,
yeah, I was wondering that too, especially once as she was aging.
But she was old.
Yeah, because I was like, she would have probably been in her 60s at this time.
Yeah.
She was born in the 20s, and this is maybe the 80s. So she would have been, probably in her 60s or near her 60s at that point. But I was like, you're doing the thing to your daughter what your husband was trying to do to you. You're trying to keep her under control and put her under your thumb and not give her any room to blossom.
Yeah.
And I was like, this poor woman, man. And then there's another little scene with them singing, and the daddy was smiling.
I was like, sir.
I was like,
what is
now he like it.
Right.
Probably because he realized what he's missing.
Oh, no.
You know how that is.
I was like, whatever.
He still look ashy, though.
And we're just going to skip right on over there because I was like, whatever. Twinkie brings a young man home named Drew that we learn is feeling Miss Karen. He thinks she looks good. You look good. You look good, girl. And she's so oblivious. Both of them, really.
I was going to say both of them are.
Because I'm like, y'all don't see what this man is throwing? Like, y'all don't see the vibes?
He the pretty boy that's going to be the next preacher in the church. So ain't nobody taking him seriously.
Well, clearly he was serious.
Obviously.
I was like, look at Twink setting her up on a date. She don't even know it. Because he came straight in after that and was like,
because when he tried to hit that, no, sir, don't ever sing again. Ever.
But I appreciated that, he took the gentle route.
Yes.
Considering he was a pretty boy.
And I think he really knew who she was. And that's something that we've talked about in many of our relationship sessions is like learning the person that you're pursuing or the person that you're trying to date. You can't approach them just any old kind of way or how you want to do it. You really have to take into consideration like who this person is.
Yeah, he knew she was shy.
Yeah.
I like he was gentle with her.
Yeah. And I like that because it almost seemed like he was trying to get Twinkie's approval or permission to like be around her.
Yeah,
he had to get in the house somehow.
Yep.
Because you ain't coming through the front door.
And Karen wasn't gonna see none of that.
No.
If it was just like face to face, she would have been like, what are you doing?
Why are you talking to me?
Go down.
Oh man. These next couple of parts. So they get ready to sing again, and
this breaks my heart.
This man, a promoter, his name's Reza. I don't know what he is in relation to them, but he tries to talk Karen into going solo, and she was like, talk to my mama. Okay, whatever. And she's like, but then she blows him off and says, okay, yeah, okay. then here comes Twink. And then we later learn, because they cut off the scene, so you don't know what he actually says to her. But then we later learn, because she pulled up with a big body Lincoln. Black.
Because at first, when she first pulled up, I was like, oh man, did they get a record deal?
Oh yeah, they got some sort of deal. Then we learn she sold her masters for Lincoln.
Entire catalog. And if anybody that knows anything about music, that is how you make your money. That's how you get your royalties. That's how you get to have somebody remix your song later down the road. Like it's tons of fighting going on. Prince's catalog. I can just think of so many people.
Anita Baker just won got hers back.
Yeah. Taylor Swift was one of them. I know Ashanti does not have her masters.
Yeah.
Irv will not release them to her. Russell Wilson just bought all of Sierra's masters and gifted them to her.
Oh,
that's
He's such a great man.
What is?
Sierra, does he got a brother?
Like for real.
I think he's corny enough to be like that.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm hoping like 20 years from now, it's not like
I've been going upside her head this whole time.
Oh my God. I hope he's real.
I think her cousins would have already jacked him up. So
I don't know.
Because, ludicrous. Deadly.
But I felt sick to my stomach.
I did too.
I was like, you sold your masters for a Lincoln.
And it's being naive to me.
How your baby sister said, why you didn't ask mama to look it over?
Right.
And she had the contract in her hand. Mama did look it over and said, oh, you ain't gonna have nothing. You ain't got nothing. Yeah. You had to start all over. She still did great, but you had to start all over.
I know, because one of the things that I wrote in my notes, they don't go into in depth about the contract, but I was like, I hope since she sold them, I hope it was only current and past, not future.
I don't think it was future because they ended up getting new record deals and stuff with other people, because I'd imagine they wouldn't have been able to do no more.
I literally would have never sung any of those songs, not a day more, ever.
And if you think about it, we really don't hear a lot of their old music. Well, they can't.
Not the old, but Sunshine is still popular, and Living in Vain.
Sunshine is after that, though.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. It's after she got a life together. After that.
Oh yeah, because this is later.
Remember, she did. Kierra wrote that, didn't it?
No, she did.
Twinkie wrote it.
Twinkie wrote it, but it's the scene where they was
at the mama house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was hoping. I was like, I hope it's. Why would you do that? But if you did it, hopefully it's just your previous and not your future. So it looks like at least it was just the current and past. But
Living in Vain is in there, and even they probably escaped.
They did it. Which, truth be told, I think I like Escape's version better than the OG.
Because it's old. I think if they sung it, well, they have sung it now. It sounds better with the way they sing it now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, I think I like Escape's version better. So, of course, the family has a whole breakdown, and
even Twinkie.
Yeah,
because I think she
didn't know.
No, she really thought she did a good thing.
She did.
She was like, what's the big deal? All I did was sell some, because in her mind, all I did was sell some songs.
It was Living in Vain.
It's 1980, so yeah.
For her, I just sold some songs, mama, and that's it. Not realizing,
how you gonna make your money?
Yeah, like these are tied to cash,
which I don't understand. Like
what he said.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, but I don't understand why she wouldn't go to her. Even if you didn't want to go to just your mom, why you didn't have like a family meeting and say, "Hey, he is offering to buy our music. What do y'all think?"
Because it's the same thing we're gonna see with the future. Dude showed her some attention.
That's why I said it's
made her feel
naive.
special.
Yeah, it's being naive for me.
And she was special.
And that's what her mama said. I was like, ooh, now that, talk about, she got a gut punch earlier from her sister, but getting it from your mama is one thing for you and your sister to fight and talk about that, but then to dedicate your entire life to your mom and then to hear her call you, she didn't even say you were a child. She said you were a baby.
But when you look at it, not saying that mama's words were right, because there's always a better way to say things, but it makes sense. And it kind of also makes sense why she was always up under her mother, because she really, her comprehension is not like the rest of them. Now, what that could mean as far as anything else, we don't know that, because we don't know these women. But it makes a lot of sense why she has behaved the way she has the entire time. I think there is something in there. It's not just an attachment thing. It's not just her placement thing. Like, I think this is truly who she is.
Well, Mama said you can make music and poor decisions.
That is her thing. And you got to think, even throughout, then what happened later, it just seems like maybe she has some, she's compromised in some type of way internally.
I feel like she failed to thrive in many different areas.
Yes. Which makes sense why.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was hard. I can only imagine how long, because of course you can only chop that into, a few moments in a movie. Yeah. But like,
how long did she hold on to that?
Yeah.
Making that decision.
Yeah, like how many months, years was it? That had to have changed the dynamic in the group for a while, at least for a while. And I wonder kind of what was the repair? Like, how did y'all get back on track after that? Because you literally changed the trajectory that we were on, and we had to pivot. And
you either had to write a whole lot of songs, or we had to sing these songs, and they got the dividends from it.
That's so sad.
Yeah, my heart broke for her.
Yeah. Then we learned they about to sing again. And we learn Missy is pregnant. And the sisters go in. I was like, man, these some rough ladies, boy. They just tell it like it is. And
Kierra was like, well, we don't need to sing because you ain't living what we singing.
Dorinda was chopping her up in little pieces.
She was.
Yeah.
Okay. They say it's the quiet ones.
Well,
because she was quiet in the film, but
she was also going to be the preacher too.
Yeah. I was like, okay, call it selfish. I was like, oh Lord. And then they tell Mama, and then they all was like,
And Mama surprised me.
She did, because I knew she was about to slap her.
Again. But I guess because they had to get on stage and minister, she was like, okay, I need them to stay in the spirit, and they need to be able to bring down the anointing. So,
but also I think this is one of them moments where there are consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Missy just never learned.
Yeah.
No, because she had 7.
Although
all
some
boys.
of them, like a dad, did all girls.
Ooh, I was like, I always feel for any parent that has all of the same. Like, ooh, that's hard. All boys or all girls, especially when you have that number of children. It's different if you got 2, but if you got 5, 6 children and it's all the same gender. Ooh, I can only imagine how difficult that is.
And my fear is like, I hate to say this about the woman, but are they the same baby daddies? You got 7 baby daddies?
Well, you are. Yeah, you can tell none of hers.
Right.
I'm not saying none of hers. Me retract that statement because I don't know that. But based off the way they make it look in the film,
there were multiple.
That there were multiple. Let me say that.
So you got all these 7 personalities.
And
which you would have
and they
anyway.
All seem very like, based off the,
like the
when
one
we see them later in the film, they all look very closely aged. We don't know if that's true or not, but that's the way they depicted them in the film.
Yeah.
And during that scene when they were singing, and you can see the mom and Missy, like, they make it look like they're looking at each other. I was like, I can only imagine how disappointed their mother is in that moment.
And when I looked at Denise, I said, see, that's why they say that when you're out there doing that, you lose your anointing, because now you're focused on the sin and not focused on God and, bringing the anointing in and ministering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
On some level.
Yeah.
I think if they would have had a better balance as children, there wouldn't have been this drive to explode. Just like if you, shake up a soda bottle, when you release that pressure, it's going everywhere.
Yeah.
Her, in one of her interviews, she said that each of her 7 sons are 2 years apart.
Her 7 sons are 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So every 2 years.
She was pregnant basically for like
14
years. Ooh.
That's a lot. That's a lot on the body.
It is.
And the mind.
My hat goes off to women that can do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, back then that was.
I know. Yeah, that was the thing.
Door. So then Karen and Drew were doing their, little
first date cuteness.
Was it first date?
Well, they was walking on the street. I don't know if it was the first date or not, but they had showed them go on the date on.
Because he was like, "Look, I'm ready to make you mine."
I know.
Because I'm about to be a pastor.
So I don't need to be out here bumping uglies and sin.
So, girl, you ready? And she was like, "What you talking about? What? And
Are you serious?"
Like, what you think? So then I thought it was her innocence. I was like, oh, she is such an innocent. The way they put her in this film, such an innocence about her. But she was like, "Are you gonna, promise to be a good husband?" And I was like, She was like, "Look, I'm down, but I don't want my daddy."
Dang.
Because he was a pastor, and and you about to be stepping into that role, so you say.
Well, she didn't think she was capable of doing that, of stepping into his role. I mean, into a first lady role.
Yeah. So she was like, "Look, you better be good to me."
Yeah.
And it seems like they're still married. Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, that's like 30-some years.
That's good.
If they got married in the 80s, so. So then they learned, now we skipping, and they learned that they got a Grammy nomination.
And Mama trying to play it all cool.
Like she didn't know what the Grammys was.
I know.
And they like, of course, excited I would be too, because for people that are in the music industry, this, especially at that time, was one of the highest honors that you could get. So,
yeah.
And I imagine gospel probably was not it was probably a newer category as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But did they win? They didn't say anything.
I don't know if they won that one, but I know they do have Grammys.
Some, yeah.
Gotcha. That led to, because Mama performed with them.
I was like, come on, Mama, doing
it
the
looks
little
so
walking
cute.
stuff. Got y'all little moo-moos on.
One bit more really dancing. But
I know.
But she got out there.
And have nothing showing that warrants them to have had this meeting, but okay.
Up to the neck. And wearing black at that.
And was not really in the light at all.
But they said, "Oh, no. We got to have a tribunal." And they stripped her of her... Well, they told her she can keep her title, but she cannot perform with her daughters anymore. And then proceeded to tell her after she was like, "What y'all... Hold on. I'm out here doing the Lord's work. My daughters have a gift that has been anointed to them, and the world deserves to hear this gift and the words that they are saying." And then they say to her, "Obedience is better than sacrifice."
So,
and she been a performer,
right? When the choir ministers, they just call it minister, not perform.
The way I wanted to slap every one of them men in this scene, I said, "This right here, this right here." I'm editing myself as other words after that, but this right here, ninjas.
This is why you got to read the 1 Samuel 5:22. That's where it says that. Read the whole chapter. This is where Samuel was talking to Saul, because Saul was told by God to go kill all the Amalekites. And Samuel was telling him, why didn't you do what God told you to do? He said, I did. I did do what God told me to do. But I brought the king back and I brought all the sacrifices back that meant the most to God. And that's when Samuel said, it's better to be obedient than to sacrifice. But it does not mean that sacrifice is not important, because God sacrificed Jesus. It's just better to be obedient than to sacrifice.
And you can't blanket statement somebody performing at the Grammys with something that happened a millennium ago. Like, come on now.
But they did, though. And
it's the manipulation for me.
It's the men not knowing how to be men.
It's the man-made rules.
I want to know, not right now, but I want to know what God thinks about this. You know,
I got the not right now.
Right.
I'm content. Right,
I got
here.
questions, but when it's my time,
you know, whoever your higher power is, people that's listening, when you see things like this, what do you think your higher power be saying about the stupidity that be going on this planet?
You know what? After we left and I heard that, I was like, God, do you hear the foolishness? Do you hear the man-made stuff that you probably ain't? That ain't what that
ain't even important.
He's like, that's not what I meant, but okay. I see where you're going, sir, but that's not what I meant.
It's the patriarchy for me.
Yeah. It was definitely, I felt bad for her, you know, because
she is doing the Lord's work.
And that's the cost of a rebel. You know, sometimes you are in a system that doesn't really support or allow you to function at your best potential. So then you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
On whether I'm going to continue to go against the grain or I'm going to fall in line.
Yeah. And I think she made the best choice for herself because she is not a Clark sister. So she wouldn't have been able to perform on a consistent. I mean, the girls probably wouldn't have mind, but she had to also continue her work, and her work is not the same as her daughter's work.
Sure.
And she wouldn't. But I think the thing that bothered me is that even though she's not a Clark sister, I mean, she's not a sister, she couldn't even make appearances. You know, because I'm quite sure that meant the world to me. I mean, to them, for them to be able to perform with their mom. Because anytime I get to play sing with my mom, it's an honor.
Remember, they talked about it, how right before the Grammy performance, how they had all been waiting for this moment so that they could all be on the stage together. Because she done sung, they sung at the little not the convocation, whatever that little thing was, where Karen sung for the first time. So she was on stage singing and swaying.
Yes. And the thing is, they didn't say nothing about that.
And he was there.
Yes.
Little Bishop, ugly face.
Yeah. I just felt so bad.
Yeah.
Because then in the next scene, you know, they're getting ready to go on stage and she's all dressed up in the same outfit, you know, and they ready, like, all right, come on, mama. And then, you know, she let the hand go and it's
just
like,
tearful. Just crying.
I think that was the first time I was like, oh, I really feel bad for this mama. Other than, with, you know, the husband part. But I was like, oh, man. Because in that moment she had to, like you said, now I have to decide, am I going to be the thing that stands in my children's way? Because if I get out here and perform, knowing, you know, the way our church moves, like this could potentially become a problem for them. Because they were worried, you know, they said, well, the Saints won't buy our music. You know, that could potentially become, you know, a widespread thing. Because I don't know how famous they were at this point. But, you know, she had to make some sort of decision.
Well, it was after the Grammys. So they had to be up there.
It was big famous.
Yeah. So, but she did not go up there. And, you know, and they proceeded to sing without her. And we learned that they are at a point where they have a new record deal on the table. But before that, as they're walking up to go sign, Missy asked Mama if she'll watch. I think she has 2 kids at this point.
Yes.
If she'll watch her boys, and Mama says no. Like, all right, I'm done. But y'all grown.
Because she had another doctor's appointment. So this means she was pregnant with number 3.
I thought she was pregnant with number 3. Okay.
And based off of what she was wearing too. She had on, maternity clothes for that time.
Mm-hmm. And Mama said no. And she started stewing immediately.
My thing is, in this instance, this probably was the one time that I was like, your mama said what needed to be said. Because if you are going to continue to have the kids, it is not her job to always show up in that way for them. She want to go do her own thing. She might want to find a new Mr. Clark.
Well, she said she had some plans too.
Yeah, she had, even if she didn't. If her plan was, I want to sleep, she could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you are choosing to have multiple children. Yes, your mama helps you. That's not an issue for her. But this one time is the reason why you left the group.
Yeah.
It
was an extreme reaction.
Yeah. That right there, I was so disappointed in, I mean, not that it matters, but I was so disappointed in her. Yeah. I was like, ma'am, so you're not going to sign the contract and potentially ruin the group because your mama won't babysit?
Yeah, the way they depicted in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Put that film. The way they depicted it in the film. Because I don't know if this is exactly how that went down.
Probably
I
not.
know, because they are estranged still. So I wonder if they...
I think it was multiple things that were said at that table, after that meeting, the funeral scene, all of that. I think all of that has compiled. And I think when people don't leave right, it's hard for them to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you got to save face, too.
Oh, absolutely. But to me, it was childish. Mm-hmm. It was immature. And then it solidified what your mama was saying. Mm-hmm. You're not acting in a way that is going to really help you. You have 2 children and you need some sort of help. Why did that make you leave the group? Why didn't you ask one of your sisters? If mama couldn't do it, then you have 4 sisters.
And the baby daddies.
And the daddy. If they were in the picture. So I didn't understand like how that specific
tipping point.
Why that was a tipping point. It'd be different if mama cussed you out or was threatening to kick you out the group. Mm-hmm. But I was like, that?
Yeah. Now I get why she became upset later in that conversation when Dorinda said what she said about you make it so hard to love you. And then, she turns back around and says, y'all may be difficult, but it was never hard to love y'all. Like I get that part, but everything else that led up to that was a overreaction based off of the film. Now remember, we know we're watching a biopic, so we're going off of the film.
They may not have included.
Yeah,
and you're relying on people's memory.
Yeah,
so
that's been years,
right? So we want to keep it in context. So based off what we were shown, this is the analysis. But yeah, that part I was like, ooh, that hurt my feelings.
That hurt my feelings. I can't even imagine how you felt, and it was directed toward you.
Yeah, because in reality, what she is a Missy. What she said is correct.
Yeah,
y'all are difficult, but y'all are my sisters, and I love you guys regardless. And what you just told me is that you essentially got to force yourself to love me.
Yeah,
that is work to love me.
So, and I understand what you ladies are saying, but that doesn't mean it wasn't true though, because based on the film, the way she was acting at times, it was like, man, I love you, but man, you're making this hard. Mm-hmm. Like the decisions that you're making this hard. Like you got 3 babies. We might not know yet, but you got 3 babies that you're going to expect for us to help you with. And like you making this difficult.
Mm-hmm. See, where my mind goes, it's not difficult to love you, it's difficult to like you.
I'm just saying based on what they said.
Yeah. But that's why I think that it was so disrespectful of them to say.
And Dorinda need to watch how she talked to her sister. Like, that's been a consistent thing in the movie. We don't know Miss Dorinda personally. That's been a consistent thing in the movie. She is the snarky, sarcastic. She be throwing little daggers. And sometimes you need to be quiet. Mm-hmm. That's not something that needed to be said in that moment. It didn't help anything. Now, if you had later sat down with Nisi and said, yo, sis, sometimes you're making it real hard.
Yeah.
Like, why you, that would have been different. It's not in the height of the moment. It's not any of that stuff going on.
And I agree, sitting down saying it's hard to like you.
Yeah.
You know, loving you, like, you're my sister, so I love you. But liking you, that's different.
Yeah, because that's based off your, just in my mind, that's based off your behavior. You know, that I, like you said, but I love you because of what we've been through. I love you for who you are. I love you because there is still something you bring to my life. Even if there are other parts that are hard about you, you still bring something to my life. But I also agree that that just was not
the time.
And even though you mad in this moment, this is really a conversation between Nisi and Mama. Everybody else is not the time. It's not the time.
Because the thing about it is, y'all made it worse.
Yeah.
And she still didn't sign. And the thing about it is, y'all made it worse for her to not be in y'all's life again.
Because if this is the way it played out, I can imagine like that. Yeah, once you say, "Oh, so you gotta try to love me," then what am I doing? Then what do you need me for? What purpose do I serve then?
Just to hold a note? No, I ain't doing that.
So now it drives home my point on why I'm leaving and not signing.
But it also made me hear how she felt like the black sheep.
Yeah, but it's also self-fulfilling prophecy because she created this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you unhealed and you going around, you bleeding on everything you touch. And I imagine there's some stuff that you have also passed down to your boys.
Possibly. Yeah, this one was hard. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. That punched me in the stomach.
Then Twinkie meets her ultimate downfall.
Y'all see my face?
John. And I was like, as soon as he came on the steps, I was like,
He's slimy.
I was like,
he got
just
that
slippery.
Slick.
And that high top was just
that snake feeling.
It was straight snake feeling. And I was like, he about to play. Play you so bad.
He wasn't even saying nothing good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could see if Karen's husband had been the one verbalizing these things to her. That makes sense because you had your whole little thing. Sir, all you did was ask if I had a boyfriend.
That's it.
That's all it took. I mean, I'm sure it was some other stuff, but
and I imagine that was a plot. You know,
he knew who she was.
There you go.
Well, can we say covert narcissist?
Okay. So then, of course, he gonna ask her to marry because he thinks she got a lot of money.
She sold it already, but she ain't got it.
He thinks she got a lot of money, so he want to marry her, and now she want to lead a group. Now she says it's even if she wasn't gonna get married, she would still want to lead the group.
Which
I know
is a lie.
I was like, I know she said that, but her behavior.
Thinking for herself is not her strong suit at this phase of life. I think probably now, based off of what we saw in the storyline, that she does do that. You know, she's living her life now.
Yeah. And I was like, man, these sisters be doing sometimes. I was like, ooh, you know, I have a sister, but we are extremely far apart in age. So I was like, I could only imagine growing up with sisters and we are all relatively the same age. Cause I was like, do y'all not hear? Y'all just had one sister leave the group for this very thing. Like this very thing. And she is standing before y'all, pleading
for y'all to let her be happy.
Begging. And I was like, do you know how much a person has to humble themselves, lower themselves to beg you to love me?
And let me live my life.
And let me live my life. And be happy for me. And I am pouring my heart out. I am crying. And y'all looking at me like I can't believe it.
Yeah, that was a hard scene for me to see too.
Like my mama and my two sisters sitting there just like, basically, I mean, it was selfish that you're more worried about what y'all got going on and what the impact of this could be on y'all than saying, yes, we're happy for you. We support you. Even though he ended up being, but let's just go with the idea, versus saying we're happy for you. Okay, let's figure out a way we can work this together, so we can both all get what we want and what we need. You get to have the life and build for yourself, but we still get to have the group and pursue our goal.
Mm-hmm.
No, y'all couldn't say that. Y'all like, but why? So you just gonna do us like that? Oh, sorry about that. I got a little excited. Yeah, I was like, oh.
I was glad at that point she identified being their crutch.
Mm-hmm.
And like the thing about it is she needed to remove herself regardless of whether or not she got married or not. She needed to remove herself so that they could grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so she could grow.
Yeah. It was just hard that it had to be that way.
I know. Yeah. It was almost like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So then, her and old boy show up to the mama house as they get ready, they get ready to move to North Carolina. And, they come in to basically let her know. And this scene actually did bring a tear to my eye. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I'm getting so sensitive in my old age. Because, and it was really once, after the mama was like begging her,
didn't want to let her
go.
When he pushed her, it would have been no way. I would have been able.
Because she was in her 70s at this point.
Mm-hmm. I don't care if she was still in her 40s. He would have been not married to me.
My immediate reaction.
Oh, we got to fight.
You just pushed my mama, fool.
Like hard, like she flew into the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and she's on cane.
Cane.
So did you?
It's no coming back, because if you're gonna lay your hands on my mama just because she not letting me go at the speed,
and that it's difficult for me and my mama to part ways like that, and I'm moving to North Carolina
for no reason with no job.
Girl, when he said, "Well, I'm gonna get one when I get there," she was like,
she already knew his mama.
Oh, so you ain't got one,
girl? Do you hear what he just said? You moving from? I'm assuming they're in Detroit still.
Yeah,
you moving from Detroit. I mean, that's essentially clear across the U.S. to North Carolina,
where there's not a music scene,
with a man that has no job.
He ain't got nothing.
And you think this is a brilliant idea.
Good music, poor choices.
And in this moment, I was like, yeah, girl, your mama's right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even, you need that hardline truth now.
Yeah.
But.
And I like that mom still was trying to sabotage you. Did she tell you that she sold her masters?
Because she's trying to let him know
she ain't gonna get nothing.
Right. Yeah. What you think you about to get, you not about to get.
And he didn't. But I'm just telling you the amount of beat down he would have got. Oh, it's not no coming back from that. You done put your hands on my mama.
Right.
So I know you're gonna put your hands on me or something.
Yeah.
So now I got to keep
and you're dragging me off of her.
Right.
First of all, ain't no way. Ain't no way. You dragging me.
Twinkie, first of all, you just need to go sit on the porch until I get through.
Why you in a rush? You ain't got nothing to do.
You ain't got to be at no job interview.
And we drive.
I'm paying for the gas with my car that my master's bought.
Okay.
So why are you rushing?
I just don't understand. Girl, when I say y'all, this had, I was like, it brought a tear to my eye, because I was like, the way she acted that, don't take her from me. Mm-hmm. You could tell that.
It was like Nettie and Color Purple.
Boy.
Nettie!
Girl. I was like, you could really tell that woman's soul was gone. Like, you took her other daughters, she loved them, and I have no doubt that she loved all 4 of her daughters.
5.
The other ones,
Okay.
I mean. But this one, like, you took her soul from her. Because she was not the same after that.
No, she declined steadily.
Yeah.
And you could tell it, like, this was a hard woman. And for a woman like that to have that type of a breakdown.
Like, she boo-hooed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't just tears coming out of her eyes.
She probably also felt responsible. Just knowing how her thought process set up, she probably felt responsible that she hadn't done enough for her child to make a better choice, especially in a man.
Yeah.
You know, essentially what happened is she picked somebody that was a similar caliber to her father.
Yeah.
And
different reasons.
Mama seemed like she knew it too.
Yeah. Well, she said the first man that showed you some attention.
Yep, she did.
And the way they make it seem in the film, like, almost literally the first man that showed her some attention. And she saw it as an out. You know, whether she...
That may have been why she made the decision.
She needed an excuse instead of just
I'm leaving.
it. And the thing is, I don't even think she really... If she would have been thinking in her right mind, there was no need to leave. Because all of the sisters had solo careers. You know? And kind of like what Karen said, we all married. That don't mean you gotta leave. That don't mean if you want to do your own album.
But see, they had supportive husbands. Who knows if this...
Clearly, he's in her ear saying the wrong stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, man. It was just so hard.
It was.
Oh,
He'd have been dead.
And see, that to me gave me domestic violence vibes, because you're trying to immediately take her away from her. From what she knows.
A covert narcissist.
I mean, yes and yes. Because I was like, I mean, you are pulling this woman off of her mother.
Yeah.
They are in like bear hug with one another.
Both of them. It wasn't just one.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine when you notice that he's pushed your mama, and then you go in, like, what's all the stuff that's processing your head, like the regret, the like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like,
did she get hurt? Like, you wasn't even giving me enough time to figure out if she got hurt because you just pushed her.
Yeah, she could have broke her hip. I mean,
anything. Because like you said, she was like in her 70s now. Ain't no telling what could have happened to her.
Yeah, but she left. And, you know, she got what she probably wasn't looking for. And her husband, straight moocher, the way they depict him in the film, a loser.
Loser.
Oh, I ain't heard that all the time.
Ain't helping take care of nothing. She done had a baby for this man.
He got the nerve to get mad at her.
We need some money. We need this.
We're gonna get some.
Why you ain't got no job?
And where are you coming from?
Somebody else's house.
And why you ain't give me the money? Because bills need to be paid. Fool, we got a kid.
But she gonna justify it. Talk about it was just a little bit. I did what I was supposed to do.
He said, "Why you didn't show me?"
Boy, he just made me all the way mad. Miss Twinkie, I'm sorry to talk about your ex-husband like that, but
he was sorry.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Sir, you were just
trash."
Because
dumpster juice.
That. And I was like, this woman's self-esteem, you know, it's so low that at that time, and, you know, who knows how long it was before she eventually, you know, left him. But at that time, like, you didn't think that you deserved more than what you were getting, that your life was.
Or maybe she didn't know how to get it, because it's a lot of stuff about life she didn't seem to know.
That's why I say there's some something.
And you like, you cut your mama all the way off. Like, she's calling you, you know, it doesn't seem like she's doing other ones like that. You know, they didn't show any scenes where she's like really trying to engage and reach out with the other ones, other than when Jacky got married. But like, she is, it seems like this is years at this point. And she's still like, I just want to know that you're okay.
And that's what I feel like, not that she didn't need to call the other ones, but the other ones didn't seem to have, based on the movie, they didn't seem to have married men like that. And they were making better choices. Twinkie at the time was not making better choices. So it's like, okay, well, are you making better choices now? Like, are you just letting him think for you now? Like, what?
She was just very childlike, and I know that's not something she probably would want to hear, but there's a reality, to that, and that explains, her emotional and mental state later. That some people are just a little bit more fragile, so you do have to make sure things are set up in a different way in order to be as protective as possible, and she just didn't get that.
Yeah. And now we learn that mom is sick.
Very sick.
Very sick. I was thinking that based off that injury on her foot, that she had diabetes.
Probably because of the food, the eating, and
it was unhealed.
Yeah,
and she didn't seem to like.
Because Jacky did say, "Mama, you're not supposed to be eating that."
Because Jacky goes over, and I was like, "Oh, Mama's starting to soften up," and I was thinking, "Okay, she is about to pass." Because she bought her some pants. You know that. Man.
And she had pants on.
That too. So Mama done softened all the way up. And I said, "Oh, she gonna be leaving this earth." She's making, and I don't want to say making it right, but she's trying to make her peace. In her way.
Yeah.
With her children.
Complications of diabetes.
Was diabetes. But I thought it was cute that she bought her pants.
Yeah.
And I said, man, Twinkie leaving, I said, that really broke her down. We talk about emotional pain, and, we, in many sessions, we talked about how when you have unfinished business or, emotions that are unchecked or not being addressed, that it starts to manifest itself physically. And I can only imagine, that mom kind of just gave up on a lot of things after that point.
So that emotional pain.
So then mom's in the hospital, and I was like, oh, here we go. It's coming. And she's got 3 of her children with her. Dorinda, Karen, and Jacky are there. And she's talking to the doctor, praising them and all the things that she's super proud of, and who they are to her. And you can kind of tell, like, man, I don't have
no more fight.
Yeah. And I was wondering, there's people talk about people holding on until they get to see the one that they really want to see, and then they pretty much pass like immediately after that. I was wondering, because this is my first time seeing this movie, so I was wondering if she was going to get a chance to see the other 2 before she passed.
She asked if Babe was going to come, but I was like, I didn't think she was going to hold on anyway, because she was hurting too much.
Yeah, I didn't think Denise was going to come, but I thought that Twinkie would have made it.
And
and now we don't know either,
right? Because they didn't show that.
Yeah.
So based off the way the film is cut and edited,
they didn't come.
They did not come, and she did not get a chance to see her children before she passed. Her other 2 children, before she passed. And I was like, that's the kind of stuff. Now, if that's the way things really played out, that stays with a person till their dying day. That kind of regret. It's even hard for therapy to get through that kind of regret.
Yeah, because you can't forgive yourself.
Because Niecy came and Denise came and did her, guilty
showed
speech.
Out.
You don't have a relationship.
And she seemed like she was under the influence a little bit, like she had been drinking.
I didn't even think about that. But she did. I just heard her do her guilty speech. This when people.
This my mama.
Yeah, this my mama. That's the I'm jumping in the casket with you type of behavior.
You should have been here.
Because she walked right up.
Didn't even how you had the boys line up like they on display. Like this is not how they need to be introduced to their grandma. Only 2 of them know her.
Yeah. Like you walked right up. and started. Yeah.
Because at first I thought, I was like, okay, maybe she's going to sing. But then I was like, I don't feel like she's ready to sing.
She didn't have singing energy.
No, I know. She didn't. I was like, oh, this is not ready to be good.
Yeah, and just the looks on the sisters' faces, it seemed like they haven't seen her.
Yeah.
So how? Because I think one of them did say, "How dare she?"
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Twinkie.
And you wearing white too.
Well, she knew.
How did you get the message? Somebody said something to you.
Somebody know the family.
Yeah, well, and they could have reached out to her to make sure she got there, but didn't nobody put you on a program.
Right.
She still didn't reach back. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is highly inappropriate. I understand grief, but what you doing
It's
is
guilt.
And then as you leaving, you got the nerve to want to be in, quote unquote, the family car when you have essentially ostracized, outcast yourself. Yeah. And who knows how many years it had been
You
since.
done had 7 kids.
At least
10, it looked like, because she had 2 already.
Probably like 9 years because she was already pregnant. So yeah.
Yeah, because she said, these are my 7 children. Or her 7 grandbabies or something.
No, 7 children.
Babies. No,
Okay.
7 boys or something
7
like that.
boys.
And then you getting loud. Like, y'all ain't even gone to the burial site. Like, y'all just coming out the church.
And you can tell the things that she's still upset about because she's talking about my husband. We not worried about none of that right now. Our mama done died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, let Ann one and my siblings get to acting a fool. I'm just gonna knock all you out.
But see, unless they don't have a relationship with your mom, they ain't gonna do it.
Come on, my daddy.
Oh.
No, it ain't but Bubba on the other side.
Oh.
And I wish he would. He know better.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just.
It was all uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. It was a poor send off for your mama. That's the memory that you want to have of your mama's. Like, it's not just. This is literally her final day above the ground. And that's what you want to lead off with.
And the thing about it is, even if you wanted to say, mama wouldn't want y'all to be sitting here sad, she would be wanting y'all to praise. You could have said that.
Just leave with that.
But
talk about mama.
And then say, hey, sister, come up here, let's sing one of mama's favorite songs or something. I don't know.
Could have gone so many different ways.
Yeah.
So many different ways.
It was the showboating. It was I am taking on the mantle of being the black sheep. Sometimes she could have put that down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get what that does to somebody that has been considered the black sheep because I've seen it firsthand. But at the same time, you can't keep abiding by that stereotype either.
Yeah,
it's too much. And I was like, and then you did all of that for what reason? You traumatizing your babies, you traumatizing your nieces, nephews. Forget your sisters because they grown. But it was just too much.
Yeah. And then that further, even if you wanted to repair your relationship with your sisters, you think that is going to lead to that? Yeah, it was just a mess.
I think her relationship with them is still strange.
Just that's sad, but that happens in families.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it does. This is now after the funeral. Somehow, Twinkie goes back to the church. And I mean, she's probably feeling a lot of the same things that Missy is feeling.
She's in a different way.
Because she's been gone and didn't see her mama for a long time as well.
And didn't talk to her.
And now there's literally nothing you can do. There's no making up you can do. There's no amends you can make. It literally is done.
Yeah, something similar to that happened in when my grandparents passed, and some people got to acting a fool. And I was like, get somewhere and sit down because we're not doing this today.
Yeah,
not at this wall funeral. That's what we're not going to do.
Well, it's hard because, like we said, this is the kind of stuff that you will now carry this with you forever. And that's a cross that you have to bear. That was a decision you made for whatever reasons you made it.
Yep.
you decided that was the course that you was going to take, and these are the consequences of choices, like you were saying a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But it appears that she has some sort of breakdown.
Yeah.
What socially people would call a nervous breakdown, and goes into almost like a catatonic state, almost.
Yeah.
And Dorinda, I was like, for you to have the most mouth, you couldn't handle, like, you can't handle it at all. You gonna run out and not basically not acknowledge Jacky at all. And she's like, hey,
She doing everything.
I need you to come.
My mama said she was the glue.
Yeah.
So,
And you just run off. Don't acknowledge like nothing. And I was like, man, that's hard. I understand y'all are grieving, and this is I have not lost my mother. Thank you, Lord. So I can only imagine whenever that time comes how I will feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I would hope that my brother would be there to support me, and I'd be there to support him. During that time. Outside of other people that would support, but like if we're specifically talking about family.
And I know people have to grieve in their own way, but I think one of the things that when you have siblings, it's the time for you all to lean on one another. Like especially if you have one sibling that's really not doing well, like she had a nervous breakdown, and you already know that she was like a replica of your mom. So of course she's gonna have, well, I don't want to say of course, but she got a divorce and her mama just passed, or y'all's mom just passed. So she needs some extra support.
And a baby.
And a baby, yeah.
And the thing is, you five are the only ones that have the relationship that y'all have with y'all mama. She's no one else's mother, so no one else is going to understand y'all's grief process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's different, because if she was married, you wouldn't understand the husband-wife because you weren't married to her. No one else has that relationship, and you have somebody else that does. She don't have another husband, or she has her own sisters or brothers, and they have a different relationship. They know her differently. But as her children, y'all have a unique set of grief, and to not be able to be there for one another to get that support, that makes your grief process just that much harder.
Yeah.
But these next few scenes, I was like, we probably could have done without these, but I understand that.
I guess I didn't understand the scene with Dorinda going on the bridge.
She was gonna commit suicide.
I thought that, but I was like,
but then she saw something, but they don't.
That's the problem.
They don't show you what she saw.
Right.
Yeah, like we need to go on the spiritual journey she going on, not just a praise, hallelujah. After that, like I understand, but I'm like,
but what was it?
Visually, I needed you to show that to us.
Visually, or like I don't know, put the voice of God or something, like let us, yeah.
Because it was just like.
She turned
Thank
around.
you, God. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, that was it? Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah, and for someone who does not have that type of dynamic in the church or a relationship with God, it's like, what just happened?
But, good for her that she heard or saw whatever it was that she needed to be able to
turn that around
and get herself out of that moment.
Yeah.
And then Karen goes in for some medical thing and gets into a coma, but ends up making a full recovery. Bariatric surgery? Okay.
Gastric bypass is what I was meaning, not heart bypass.
So, that scene was really quick, so, I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts about that one, because I was like...
Now, this is what I'm going to say about these last scenes.
I was like, okay.
I feel like it was real churchy, and it was too close to home, and they weren't able to be as vulnerable in these scenes versus what we had saw previously and about other people's lives.
Gotcha.
But when it came to their pieces, it was kind of like, let me still keep up the image. And I was like, just be open. Like, I get you. It's like, well, no, I want to do this for me. I want to do something to make me, but what you doing?
Yeah, because I was like,
We watching your life.
I was like, it's because I didn't until you had said that. I was like, what? Like, is she having a baby? Does she have cancer? Like, is she going to the dentist? I was like, what? And then the very next moment, she's got a 2% chance of, and I was like, what? Hold on, like, what happened?
The one part I can appreciate about that scene was that her husband was like, "You don't have to do this."
Yeah.
He was like, I love you for who you are. You don't have to do this. And she said, no, I'm doing this for me. But I could appreciate him trying to talk her out and encourage her not to.
Agreed. But I think I was so confused on like what type of surgery well, not even if she was having surgery. I didn't know what was going on. But then it was like she's in a coma and got a 2% chance of living, and then literally the next scene is she's going to make a full recovery. So I was like, that was a whirlwind.
They had to do the faith-based part. I said, this the one part they could have done better. Because I was like, see, y'all didn't do a fireproof scene where you'd be like, yes, fireproof. Yes.
Yeah.
The Lord is real.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that. I just said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was good. All right.
Yeah, we didn't get to see no prayers.
Nothing.
Nothing. It was just
it was literally like, scene. I said, okay, well, they wanted to get through that real quick. Okay. So then that's essentially like basically the end of the movie, but they get ready to have they're going to sing somewhere, and they want Karen has a song that she wants Twinkie to kind of go over, help her out with, make it better, and they're using this as a way sing with them. So they're kind of using this as a way to have their reunion moment of sorts. And she agrees, and of course at the scene, she's having all the existential crisis, that she's getting back out there because she probably hasn't performed in who knows how long. But of course, as things always go, she comes out there and is ready to do the thing with them, and they get out there and sing.
And that was probably the last time.
When they showed the real sisters singing, I was like, well, where's Twinkie?
She don't sing with them anymore.
I see.
It would have been nice though for the movie, if y'all were going to have the four of them start, and then when you pan to the real people, because that threw me off.
Yeah, because
the face changed, and I was like, who is that? I literally said, I was like, who is that?
Like, oh, that's Karen.
Because I was
that's
like,
Dorinda, and that's Jacky.
I was like, that's not the face that was just on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's people.
Yeah, that's what threw me off, because she was on stage, and then they went to the three. I was like, wait, what just happened to Twinkie?
And they was at the frozen part.
I
said, what in the pantomime is going on? I said, oh, okay, tracking.
Yeah. But they sang, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they did the, this is what happened to them.
I was happy that they did that part, said what was going on with everybody, but especially the sisters that were not present for the end of the movie. And I feel like they gave good props to everybody,
they talked about what their accomplishments were versus, taking the low road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got to rate it. Because y'all know we don't do quotes on this. And we did not say this in the beginning. If y'all see a little tint on us, we got a little blue light going here. So let us know if y'all like the way this is, and we'll keep this vibe going. We think we want to do something different for the movie breakdowns, because this is chill and kind of like free flowing. So y'all just let us know what y'all think. So we're going to rate. And y'all know I always forget if we do stars or letters.
We do numbers.
Numbers. Okay.
Wait a minute, you made me need some water.
I'm like, it's been almost 2 years.
I need to eat my Wheaties. Or take me some ginkgo or something. But so I would rate this out of 5. I do know it's out of 5. I do know that. I never know if it's 5 stars. But I would give this one, like, for real, for story. If I could chop off like the last 10 minutes of the film, I would give it a 5, legit. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 4.8.
Yes, so I would chop off 8 minutes because I still want to hear them sing.
Okay.
I agree. I think this was one of the better biopics or biopics, however you want to say it, that has been made. I feel like it got to show a variety of things, except for that little last part where I feel like the image stuff started coming up, and it wasn't like fully,
it wasn't
telling.
as intense as the rest of the film.
It's like it's two different movies. Like we was watching.
It became a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, Lifetime Hallmark, real basic,
Sappy.
and it didn't do what it needed to do on that part. So I definitely would do like the 4.8.
Okay.
So I will say, Clark sisters, we love y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, Dorinda, Jacky, Twinkie, and Denise.
Yeah, I will say y'all have gained a new fan. I had never heard of the Clark sisters, so it was nice to be able to hear some of their songs and learn about their life, at least a portion of it. So yeah.
Oh, and Kiki, we love you too.
All right. So next month, we got more big things popping. As y'all can see, we're still trying to get our camera situation down. So we hope y'all are enjoying
the visuals.
Yeah, having us on camera. But we got more good things. And next month will be our 100th episode.
Yes, so y'all gonna get this live.
Mm-hmm.
MMB will actually be live. I know we normally do a This Broad live, but it'll be an MMB. So get prepared for that. It's a different situation.
Oh yeah,
but
y'all will be able to comment on the movie with us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So and ask questions.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have to let us know if y'all like that format too. Once we do it.
Yep.
So wait and check us out next month.
Must be his volume control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at the Repsychled Podcast. If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.